Morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident holly jolly tinkerer and Medarotter here on the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. And boy, oh boy, it looks like we're going to be wrapping up 2023 on a very high note this time around, as we have an interesting collab and a surprising addition to the collab family with another 2000s anime very similarly to Medarot that aired roughly about the same time to kind of round out the nostalgia wave, airing alongside Medarot as well as Cyber Kitty Kuro-chan, which also did collab with Medarot not once but twice in previous years as well. This time around, as you see here, we are getting a collaboration with the legendary and well-known nostalgic wave of Shaman King, with not one, not two, but four brand new models, very likely sporting at least one new skill each, or something very similar or equally as powerful. And even though this event will only be lasting roughly about 2 weeks, so roughly about a week shorter, or about 1 to 2 weeks shorter than collabs usually run, it's still going to be a very good opportunity for some very powerful models and some very good resource farming on top of that as we draw closer and closer to Christmas. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was announced for this week, starting of course with the first 2 of 4 of the Shaman King collab models as you see here. Starting that lineup is SKG0 Byaku Yo, with the kits of Needle Guard, Revenge Sword, Tsujigiri, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Anger. Now it is also worth noting that despite the fact that Byaku Yo is not debuting anything brand new, and neither is the other model, which I will get to in a minute, but this is also the second ever instance of the leg ability Anger being used, which, as a friendly reminder, buffs users' damage if allies take damage and parts break. The only other model that this leg ability was used on currently is Cross Messiah Z, so it's going to be a very welcome addition to see this leg ability come yet again with a very powerful melee-based kit as well. In addition to Byakuyo, we also have SKG-01 The Raite with the kits of Spark Strike, Hyper Thunder, Overcharge, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Super Armor. Now, even though a very largely paralyzed-based kit like what this one has, or Paralyze and Metaforce Punish in particular with this, the leg ability of Super Armor already puts a very nice flag on this model as a very highly sought-after one, because Super Armor grants immunity to most kind of paralyzed ailments, Tornado, Freeze, and Thunder respectively for a certain number of hits, and it prevents them from being able to afflict you. So that alone is going to make that a very wonderful model as well. As mentioned here, this collab will come in 2 waves over the course of 2 weeks. This week, we're getting Byakuyo and the Raite, which will stick around for the entirety of the collaboration, roughly until about 12/28, I believe details did mention, and the other half we'll be getting next week will release Horoke Wolf and Mirai Hao as the other half to round us out and finish the collab with the final week leading up to Christmas. Now, in addition to the brand new collab models, we are also getting reruns of previous veterans as well, which for this reason I believe will make this collaboration just a little bit more forgiving in terms of resource farming and ticket farming in particular. But the reruns we have this week, starting that lineup, is GWF-03 White Glen from the Grey Wolf series, with a kit of Guard Boost, Hammer, Charge Blade, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Rush. Behind him, we have LCF-0 Old Superbia with Bug, Confusion, Blow Away, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Haja. And then last but not least, in a rather interesting turn of events, we don't really see Spotlights take the light and the stage these days, aside from maybe a PvP or online Meta League reward. But this time around, we have SIN-0 Shin Saber joining the fray, as well with a highlight with a boosted rate, with a kit of Counter Guard, Assassin, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Weapon Master. Now, it is worth noting as well, Shin Saber, as mentioned, is a Spotlight model, which means he is permanently available in the permanent pool or any other gacha pool you try to pull from, whether that be any kind of limited or collab-based. So, even though you may not want to put a lot of effort toward pushing towards Shin Saber, very likely if you go towards Byakuyo, the Raite, White Glen, or Old Superbia, you will probably get a hold of at least one part of Shin Saber by the time that you are done with your pulls, if you do find yourself absolutely lucky. And he will end up spooking you with a 2-for-1 as you try going for somebody else. That being said, though, of course, because we do have a collaboration this week and next, it is greatly recommended that you pour all your resources in rubies and try to collect at least one of the models from that in particular, just so that you have something to mark as a commemorative and a token and reward to say that you participated and that's what you walked out with. Because even just the two models alone have very powerful skills to be had from one to the other that you really can't ever go wrong with including in your kit from one side of the team to the next. Now, in terms of fierce battles we have this week, it is going to be relatively lower key, but still very forgiving and easygoing this week as well. Starting that lineup, we have GDR-0 Gun Desperado with Rifle, Double Anti-Air, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Gunman. After him, we have HPP-01 Hippopotancia with Conceal, Double Break Hammer, Wield Legs, and the leg ability of No Guard. And last but not least, HMS-0 Jungarian from Medarot 5 with Radar Sight, Double Gatling, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Mascot. Now, it is kind of a very obvious pattern here that we're going for double arms, so redundancy argument may or may not be tied into something to use whether you choose to farm for or collect these models, but all the same, they still have something very handy to make use of all the same. Especially so if you are a newcomer or rookie that's just starting their row battle career in Medarot S and need to increase that parts library for variety. That being said, all of them have something very handy to offer from one to the other. Gun Desperado for anti-air if you do find yourself in need of it. Hippopotancia, who I did name as MVP of the week primarily for Break Hammer because of its incredible use in heavy punish for anyone using 2 or more heavy parts, and the success bonus they get from Metaforce for higher chance of crits on top of that. Jungarian in particular for Gatling, and even though that may not seem like much at first glance, just a friendly reminder of the Silent Leader mechanic that was implemented a number of months ago, which means scattered AoE and full AoE attacks now suddenly have a whole lot more viability and meta than they had before. And it's for this reason that all 3 models are very useful to have one way or another, and even if you don't farm them all the way up to 5, pushing them up to 3-star and just calling it a day is still a very good place to leave it, just so you have the parts raised as a just-in-case on hand. Now, of course, with every collab we've had so far, or the last several, we do also have paid skins joining the fray that can be purchased in the convenience store. The first 2, of course, being towards Byakuyo and the Raite in particular, sporting their more OG-styled outfits and designs that I do recall based on what I did see. Of course, these paid skins will be going for roughly about 20-25 USD, up to 30 USD per bundle alongside some rubies. So do make sure that you do at least try to collect the model or a piece of it before you try purchasing the skin. Now, if you do manage to buy the skin but not collect the model, do not fret because it will still sit in your library as it's something pretty you can go and look at anytime you need. Very likely next week, as you saw in that trailer, we will be getting the second half of the models and their paid skins on top of that. Now, of course, we also have super rare Medarotters that are joining the fray as well for the duration of the collab. This time around, Hikaru and Kirara, the OG pro tags from Medarot 1, are joining the fray yet again. Hikaru's collab skin this time around reduces damage by 10% and an additional 7.5 or so if you are bipedal or male on the Medarot you are using it on. Kirara, on the other hand, doubles charge percentage gain upon any kind of completion of any kind of nature, hunter, sniper, speed, power, or whatever. Plus, you also get a 20% boost to your heat and cool for 1 turn. Now, compared to previous Medarotters we've had, such as, say, Medarotter Victor from the anime collaboration, these two don't really seem like anything overly game-breaking that we've seen in previous, such as 120 or 100% boost to stats for 1 turn, and then a debuff or guaranteed crits or anything like that. So these two aren't overly powerful or anything worth writing home about, but if you do manage to collect the collab models, do make sure you try to make at least 1 or 2 attempts for the Medarotters as well to complete that collection. Now, in terms of event stuff, of course, with the collab comes an event and lots of rewards to be had. This one in particular is sporting a reward skin that can be earned for Shin Saber specifically, which is why he is getting a rate up over the course of this week, highlighting an Amidamaru skin for Shin Saber, looking very, very nice there. Kind of getting some Sephiroth vibes, honestly, with the white silver hair and the black and white outfit, but that's kind of a given with most antags or anti-heroes in particular. I have not actually seen Shaman King, so I'm not 100% sure what this is a nod to, but it's still a very nice skin all the same, and very fitting that they chose Shin Saber for this as well. In addition to the skin for Shin Saber, you can also earn additional profile banners to use on your plate. You can also earn the Shaman medal with the mastery of melee, support, and defense, and leg masteries in biped, wheel, and tank, as well as extra gacha tickets to use in specialized banners, which is basically more or less just a permanent pool with some highlighted rates, and of course extra resources like rubies on top of that. Now, how this event will be behaving, however, luckily, it does not sport any boss battle mechanics, which means it's going to be relatively easy to farm, and for that reason, this event is ticket-based, which means mixed parts are encouraged across your team. That being said, for the blue ticket bonuses, as you see here, Old Superbia, Shin Saber, and White Glen will be sporting that highlighted bonus at +3, the Metatuber girls at +2 per part, and +1 for their fierce battles each. For Medarotters, SR Hikaru at +3, +2, and +1 respectively for the R or N rank of Arase, Hikaru, or Kirara respectively. And then, of course, for silver tickets as well, it's obvious that Byakuyo and the Raite will be spearheading that at +3 per part. And, of course, the collab skin, Hikaru at +3 for that silver ticket bonus, and +2 for SR Arase as well for the ticket bonus. Now, like I said, I believe this event will be relatively forgiving compared to previous ones, primarily for the fact that a lot of these models are ones that have been around for quite some time and have made a number of reruns in the past. So very likely, if you've been playing for anything longer than, say, I don't know, a year, you very likely will have at least one of these models you can make use of. Shin Saber in particular, as you see, at a +3 as a spotlight means pretty much anybody playing longer than, again, 6 months to a year will probably have at least one part to him already, which makes this event very easy to farm. Same can be said for the Medarotters as well, as aside from, of course, the collab bots and collab Hikaru, all of these are basically permanently available anytime, so going to be a relatively easy timed and easy farming game for me, and most other Medarotters have been playing for a while now. I'm not 100% sure how Week 2 will show, but I have a feeling it'll probably be relatively close to the same, with a lot of common reruns that have probably been around for a while, and nothing overly special, I would say, compared to other ones that are very gacha heavy or gacha required. Now, of course, the last other bit that we have with the collaboration is, of course, a limited time Super Invasion and daily missions to be added to every Medarotter's daily login when they play the game. Now, for the Super Invasion, it's very likely going to be something very simple, such as just overclocked enemy medals. So go in with your best teams, lay waste to them, and walk out with your free 10 rubies, 10 Cyplasium, and your commemorator banner as you see here. For the daily missions, basically other stuff you can do on top of that, color a part, change your BGM, participate in a fierce battle, really easy stuff to collect some extra gacha tickets and ruby shards on top of that to help top off your collection. Because, as of course, with limited collabs comes a lot of sync of rubies, and every shard you can collect will help you towards all your pulls. Now, with the community updates, of course, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any translation endeavors. Right now, Medarot 3 is still tentatively 100% complete, and I will continue to call it that for a while until I do see the official confirmation from Variant and Friends that it is 100% done. There is nothing more left to do on it. But we also are seeing work towards Medarot 4, and we would love to start seeing some work towards the Medarot Reloaded manga as well, but we are in need of helping hands and a manpower to do so. That being said, if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook, or even join our Discord as well. Ask around, we'll get you in touch with the right people to fill you in on what has been done, and what still needs done up to this point. If you have any questions, or if you are knowledgeable in coding, cleaning, or Japanese and have some time on your hands, or if you know somebody that might be interested in helping, definitely send them our way as well, and we can definitely fill them in too, and get everything started to see things going. Now, with the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, I found these wonderful pieces as well. This one here by Twitter user Dr. Meshia2043 highlighted this wonderful piece of everyone's favorite Beelzebub Devil type Belzelga, sporting a very interesting, and I love the soft color blending as well with the lights and the darks here with the crimson background. And the font that they use for this is a very nice touch as well. Would make a really good phone wallpaper, or even like a tablet wallpaper, I suppose, if you were to make use of it and crop it just right. And this one here, posted just yesterday, actually, by Twitter user Kanami-Kana7, of everyone's favorite well-rounded, all-rounder Griffin type from Medarot, Navi, Windclap, who is a very popular pick and selection among a lot of Medarotters, especially those that have played Navi and know just how well he can be and how user-friendly he is to any newcomers or rookies that are just starting out. The very diverse kit, he is basically man's best and beginner's best friend on top of that, helping people learn the ropes as he teaches them how to row battle. So definitely give both these Twitter users a follow. If you'd like to see more wonderful art in your feeds, you most certainly will not be sorry to adding them to your For You pages. Now, something I will be touching on and mentioning as well, just to kind of help get word out there. I mentioned it last week, and like I said, will continue mentioning it as well. I am open for commission for art or 3D models, as you see here. I have a very diverse array of things I can do. 2D art, 3D art, models. The models can be optimized, props, texture optimization, live 2D models ready to rig. I would love to hear from you or even work out with you, and I'm leaving my prices like this for the time being, primarily for the sake of being affordable to any newcomers to streaming or VTubing, and need affordable assets that don't require them to break the bank or their wallet to do so. So my DMs are always open for commissions. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, and we can most certainly make something happen and fill in some questions and even get something going. But with all that being said, I do believe that covers everything for this week's episode. So again, not a lot of major news. The collab is really just the really big element that they highlighted, and it is going to be a relatively short collab on top of that because, of course, we have this week and next week, and then, of course, the Tuesday right after Christmas is the 26th. So we probably may or may not see something highlighted around that as well to wrap up the festivities as we wrap up 2023 as a whole. But with that being said, if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever community on there. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below if you'd like to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new links to merchandise, translation projects, endeavors, fan art, contests, my weekly episodes, anything to do with Medarot. The Discord server is the first place you're going to hear it before it goes anywhere else across the net. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at ItsuGamiKura, so if you have any questions or feedback or comments, or would love to commission me for a piece of art or a model, I would absolutely love to reach out and coordinate with you on that. Additionally, if you are a streamer, VTuber, or YouTuber and would love to collaborate sometime, whether that means having you here on my channel with me as a guest host, or me stopping in on yours for a friendly chat or a friendly game, I would absolutely love to coordinate with you. So definitely reach out to me in those DMs. I leave open for that very reason on purpose. Don't be a stranger, stop on in and say hi, and I'll reach out to you when I can. Lastly, do give these wonderful friends of mine a follow in the Medarotter community as well. My friend over at Metabots España at Metabots ESP, who basically translates a lot of the news like I do, but for a lot of our Latin and Spanish speaking friends of the global Medarot community as well. Dear friend of mine that keeps everything up and running wherever he can and tries to keep that community in the know. and usually likes to touch base on where I can as well, so we work very closely together to keep news coordinated. Definitely give them a follow if you'd like to keep more on that, especially if you are one of our Spanish-speaking friends, and perhaps my English episodes or the Japanese ones on the main channel aren't quite at your forte or something that can be understood. Do also give SoaZ2 a follow as well for some more wonderful Medarot art as well. And not just Medarot art, but mecha in general, as well as his stream of the meta waifus that he's been doing as well, picking various models like Anzudo Beetle, Sonic Stag, Grand Beetle, not Grand Beetle, the Kuwagatsa Bison, or other models, and just kind of making waifus and armor based off of them with very wonderful art and art style as well. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping by just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.